Okay.
Okay.
So,
Hi everyone. Today we
hello.
have English version of our stream and broadcast. Thank you for watching us. And we want to talk about the really important point and important topic for all of us and for Central Asian region as well. Yeah, and this is a Turkish earthquake. And today we have our guest, our friend, journalist, Kasım Doğuş Kılıç.
Hello.
Welcome you.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah. And first of all, I want to offer and express my condolences to Turkish people due to this accident and all the victims and damage that we live. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I invite everybody to subscribe and share this video and this channel. So, and let's briefly explain the current situation in the country. And what about humanitarian crisis? As you know, the Kyrgyzstan and Kazakhstan and other countries as well trying to support Turkish people during this situation. And we want to know what the situation is now and what's the rescue team. As I know, it was like 10 days, yeah, 10 days after this
Yeah. More than.
accident. Yeah, more than 10 days. And do you feel how the situation is?
Okay. First of all, this is of course very big disaster. Uh, Two earthquakes happened within 10 hours. Turkey in geological history has never seen something like this before, and never has seen any earthquake like this within last 500 years. This is a very big earthquake. Just to understand, this is happened, and anything like this happened 500 years ago in this region. 11 cities are affected. 11. None of these cities has a major economic value, but most of these cities has had old buildings built before year 2000. This is why so many people unfortunately died. This is why so many buildings are destroyed. Uh, the economic impact is, according to Wall Street Journal and the World Bank, is more or less 40 to 45 billion dollars, US dollars. So it is a very big number, of course, huge number. Turkey has 860 billion GDP, billion dollars GDP. So it is almost 5% of the country's GDP. But on the other hand, a lot of helps, a lot of international helps provided. Also, a lot of money is raised within the country by the companies, because the big companies, big industrial companies, are still um, are not affected that much from this earthquake, because this cities has no major economic value. So which is the most economically important city in Turkey is Istanbul, Ankara, and Izmir. So these three cities are the biggest cities, are not affected from the earthquake. Now, this is this is the area happened. This is a big area actually, and it's not also affected Turkey, but also affected northern Syria. As you can see that Kahramanmaraş, Hatay, and Malatya and Adıyaman. These four cities are the has the most damage. This area has three times larger than the Denmark's land area, also as large as Austria, just for comparison. We are talking about very big disaster actually here. The area is very big. Just it was hard to reach everyone under the rubble within first 2 days. A lot of people are saying the government should have come earlier and should have helped us earlier. And also the army, a lot of people are saying this because government came after 2-3 days. So this is
Yeah,
the major.
and here's a point that I also read some news about the blocking of Twitter. Yeah, some censorship was provided during this time. I guess as normally doing in Turkey during such type of situations like terroristic attacks or some earthquakes, and it was a trouble for people, for local people to raise awareness about their problems. And the second point was that government was not provided enough resources to people in order to rescue themselves. Yeah, is it true?
Turkey has a lot of experience in terms of disaster management. Uh, we have a lot of experience. Actually, this is not the first or the last disaster we are facing. But whenever we face disasters like this, remember the wildfires, forest fires happened 2 years ago. There are a lot of disinformation spreading on Twitter because we don't have that much strong media literacy. People we have here just believing what they are seeing. So this is just causing chaos and the panic among the people. At that day, I think the second day, 7th of February, they for 6-7 hours they just stopped the Twitter access, and then they reopened it because we have a directorate called İletişim Başkanlığı, it's communication directorate. They are controlling this type of things just to prevent chaos and disinformation to spread. Sometimes it is necessary, but also, yes, it is unfortunately disrupted the communication between the field teams because people were texting each other from Twitter, from Instagram. But one more thing, listen, let's say you are sleeping on your bed, it is 4 a.m. in the morning, and suddenly earthquake is happening. Most of us sleeping with our phones, right? We are watching videos, looking internet. At the time, after 3, 4, 5 hours until 2 days, people were tweeting, people were messaging under the rubble, people were sending their locations from under the rubble. They're saying, okay, I'm under the rubble, this is my location. With the help of this, a lot of people are rescued, because imagine that you are being struck in a collapsed building, sending a message to your friends, and then your friends coming to save you. So this was very helpful. But to prevent misinformation, they had to do this. They had no other option, unfortunately. Yeah.
Okay. And how people react towards these situations and towards the government measures. So I mean, any persecution, any blames towards government, or maybe how people react after 10 days after this situation happened, and what kind of arrests, or maybe do you already know some responsible people for these victims and all this kind of situation?
Okay. So let's talk about, first of all, Hatay. Hatay is a municipality. It's controlled by the opposition, not AKP. There is an urban transformation. This has never happened in Hatay because for a long time this city has been controlled by opposition. They were saying there are a lot of corruptions in this urban transformations. If we destroy and rebuild these old buildings, there will be a lot of corruption, things like that. So they were against it for a long time. But for the cities like Malatya and the Kahramanmaraş had major Erdogan, pro-Erdogan So in these cities, we have seen some apartments destroyed. 3 years old apartments has destroyed just because of the corruption. They didn't use enough steel. They didn't make the necessary things to properly build the apartment. So a lot of people are detained. These contractors in Kahramanmaraş, in Malatya, in Adıyaman. But in Hatay is a different story. This it is just because they had no urban transformation. Also, um, geographically has not enough, not very stable ground. So this type of actually earthquakes happened in the history. This city is at least 2,000 years old. So this has happened before. This is not the last one. This will not be the last one as well. So this has happened. Now they took lessons. They took lessons. They will rebuild. I think government will strongly intervene and do whatever is necessary here to rebuild all of these cities with according to latest earthquake needs, like latest construction needs, engineering needs. What I mean.
Yeah, following your answer, I also heard the story about Erzin city and the mayor
And
of Erzin. There was one city that was no any like victim, and every building was really
yeah,
good
yeah.
construction.
This is because this was not on the fault line. The Erzin,
Mhm.
also is like. Can you open the map?
Sure,
Uh,
sure.
there is a look. You see the very strong area, the severe area, and the strong shaking area. So there is a fault line coming from north to south. Is Hatay is the area. Erzin is the basically at the east, west of the Hatay. It's towards the Gulf area. Had better ground.
Hmm.
This is just because of that. Also, Erzin was not on the fault line. The fault line is coming from north to west,
Mhm.
north to south. Sorry, north to south. So the earthquake has happened in Kahramanmaraş, and then affected the 200 kilometers south to all the way down to the Hatay.
Mhm. The
So that's
reason
why
why.
Erzin was lucky actually.
Mhm. Okay, so the reason why I'm asking because I already read some news and it's really like virus spreading information about the Erzin mayor who was responsible for the giving the permits to the building companies and construction companies and especially because of no bribes, so no any bribes and no corruption was done by this mayor. The city don't have any like damage due to earthquake. So that's why I'm asking: is it true or not? Is it related with that or not?
Uh, I'm. I have been listening one of mm, the professors, Mr. Şengör, Celal Şengör. He has a lot of knowledge about this earthquake. From science perspective, it is just because of the ground.
Okay.
Yeah, it's strong ground, having rocks ground. Hatay is has a softer ground than the other cities
Mhm.
because it's in located in I don't know how to say in English, but you got it. Just
Yeah.
flat ground,
Yeah.
comparatively prone to more damage than the
Mhm.
other areas. So this is increased the damage. One more thing. Um, for 2 days, for the first 2 days in the earthquake, people were blaming, saying, "Where is the army? Why rescue is not coming?" So this was the main thing which everyone was saying for the first 2 days because a lot of looting has happened, which is um, according to some of people, this looting done by Syrians, I don't want to point any ethnic group here, but we have seen things like this. If army had been earlier on the streets, had been earlier, this could be prevented, and also people could feel safer. People felt lonely. Only after second day, I think that big army groups came to the street. So we have seen, but for the first 2 days, we didn't see any.
Okay. So my next question. So according to some investigations, the damage and victims could be less because of if government do some precautions and government officials will not give, like our comments said, will not give a lot of building permits. And as I also learned from the Washington Post article, that during the Erdogan period, a lot of building permits was given to the construction companies. So, is it really make a sense in this situation, or it's more about earthquake? So you already mentioned that the bribes and corruption was happened during this construction campaigns. So is it true or not? Is it related with this accident?
Yes, of course, because we have seen some apartments built last year is completely destroyed. So how you can explain this? Of course, there must be something wrong here, right? This is a major earthquake zone. It has to be built. It had to be built according to the latest engineering needs in the earthquake zone. So we are seeing nothing like this because still like the iron needed to put in this apartment has not been put according to latest needs. So I think so far 160 contractors detained in this Kahramanmaraş, Malatya, Adıyaman, and Adana, Diyarbakır, all of these cities are affected. And also, one more thing, Diyarbakır, Urfa, Antep, and Adana, these cities are less affected than the other cities. In these cities, some of the buildings are destroyed just because of these buildings are not built properly. Because of this, these contractors has detained. So, how you can explain this to public that a year old building is completely getting destroyed? So how you can explain this? And there was an advert on the page, the which you can find apartments for sale. They were saying this apartment built according to latest earthquake engineering things. So how you can explain this to people? This is of course very very big image damage to Erdogan's image and the AKP. But also on the other hand, this is unfortunately this he can see this as a chance to rebuild these cities and show to public that we can build, we can do it together.
So, coming to the economy of Turkey, as I know, the situation was really worst before this earthquake because of inflation and highest inflation during the last year. And the Turkish economy has a lot of trouble because of economic crisis that was happened after COVID-19 and due to the governance. Yeah. So, and coming to this earthquake, how the Turkish economy survived during this year, and is it really make a sense, and how it's impact on inflation in the market now?
Okay, Erdogan took the control in 2022. too.
Mhm.
Since then, the economy has driven by the construction, construction field, construction industry. For 20 years, there were a lot of big construction projects, like bridges, tunnels, airports, projects, big projects. Erdogan has a lot of experience in terms of construction. This situation, the major economic impact, this situation in the long run will be giving breathing space to the economy, because a lot of construction companies will be hiring a lot of people, a lot of money will be invested to these cities again, a lot of development and the circulation is going to happen. I'm not saying the construction is development, but this will fuel the economy, push its limits, because we are talking about like almost $50 billion here. It's not a small amount. At the end of the day, this will benefit to Erdogan. Why? Because there is TOKİ houses. TOKİ is the houses built by a government. None of these houses are destroyed. They are now making the PR of these TOKİ houses. If you go to government channels, you can see they are PRing this, showing none of these TOKİ houses are destroyed. We built strong houses. We will rebuild these type of houses again. The constructions will start at the beginning of the March. They are already started. They will, for the Erdogan, this will be huge PR for the election. So you can see this as a chance. Unfortunately, a lot of people have died. I'm really sorry, but this can be seen as a chance.
Yeah, and as I remember, like more than 20 years ago, Turkey already has a really like bad situation, like earthquake in Izmit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the country was ruled by Bülent Ecevit. Yeah, during this, yeah, it
Yes.
was another party, and some experts said that was a reason why one of the reason why the previous government lose their election 3 years later. So, and this was a reason why AKP, like AK Party, come to the power. And here is a question: what about political situation in the country? And this May, as you know, we will have a like you will have a presidential elections. And
Mm-hmm.
what about? And it will be challenging for sure for the current president. Does this accident impacts Erdogan chances to win? And what about opposition side? How you rate opposition chances?
Okay, so we have official election date in May. We have less than 3 months actually. Under these conditions, under these extraordinary situation, extraordinary conditions, I don't think it's very possible to have a healthy and proper election environment. It's not, because you see, you want to make campaigns, right? Election campaigns. 35,000 people are died. How you can talk in front of the public? So I don't think it's possible. I don't think it makes sense. It will cause a lot of reactions in the public. So maybe they will say, look, 35,000 people are died, a lot of cities are destroyed, so you are talking about earthquake, things like that. But opposition has been pushing. Okay, Kılıçdaroğlu is saying the election has to be done completed by the May. It cannot be postponed. It is not. It is completely unquestionable. So this get a lot of reaction. I mean, negative reaction from the public. You know, opposition also has no candidate. Still, no one knows who is the opposition candidate. There are 6 parties. None of these parties has consensus.
Mhm.
People are saying Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu. Okay, maybe, but there is no consensus. We have 3 months, still no consensus. I think Erdogan will have like at least 60%, 65% chance again.
Mhm.
Because this is different situation. In 1999, there are a lot of strong opposition, a lot of rivals at the time. There are a lot of parties, but this opposition is not that strong enough against Erdogan. And Erdogan has a very strong image. You can see him as um, like strongest, one of the strongest figures in Turkey history. Not only Turkey history, but if you want to compare and understand, also in the Ottoman history. So it has he has a lot of effect on the stability of the country. Has seen as a good leader because just look from the international perspective.
Mhm.
I'm not very pro him or against him. I am just making um, an objective look to Russia-Ukraine war. He can talk both leaders, right? So none of the world leaders actually have this type of power. So people are seeing him as a balancer in the in between East and the West. So at the end of today, long story short, he has a lot of chances to win the
Mhm.
election.
But is it possible to that Erdogan can postpone the election for the next year? Is it possible?
It is possible. They can change the constitution if they want. They have a lot of power. There is. I think they will do that. I'm. I'm.
Mm.
I'm not even doubting. They will postpone the election. You will be hearing things like this soon,
Mhm.
within a couple of weeks.
Mhm.
They will postpone.
And one more question related with the pro-government channels. You know that it was spreading a lot across the pro-government TV channels that this earthquake was artificially provoked. And maybe you see the some videos and reportages that it was provoked. Why they are doing this and for what?
Just
As they
because
to like to say that we are not responsible for this, some third party did this.
just because of ignorance, they I mean, how we can believe something like this? Scientifically, this is proved it's not possible with this technology we have. You cannot move billions of rocks within 45 seconds. So how you can make such an earthquake? So this is just because of the ignorance. That's it. Just
Yeah, because I have some feeling that it's kind of specially distributed, like specially spreading this kind of videos across Turkey because people don't have, like you said,
yeah.
sometimes media literacy and
Yeah.
they believe in everything. And you even see such kind of video from the TV channel that like kind of news, and most probably you're seeing that it's more reliable content. And why they are using this type of videos.
I don't think it's intentional. They are believing, they are sharing what they are believing. Their editors, their teams should be educated. Science is very important. It should be also the editors and the news people should be also learning how the earthquakes work. First, you need to understand the scientific mechanism of this type of natural disasters. So how you can tell the people how is earthquake is happening? There are um, I don't know how to say in English. Earth is crashing each other, and then we are
Fact.
getting shake. Yeah. Uh, so how you can say that artificial any weapon by US is cause earthquake. So this
Mhm.
is super like this is like believing a UFO. Like there
Mhm.
are UFOs, of course, but I don't find any sense here.
Okay. So during our interview, you already mentioned about the Syrians, and as we know, the earthquake not hit only Turkey but also hit Syria as well. And mostly this territory of Syria controlled by Turkish forces. And what is the situation with the Syrian refugees? Because we know that the situation was worst before the earthquake
Mhm.
during this war, and how the reaction of government towards Syria.
Okay, can you open the map? Let me show you
Sure,
something.
sure.
These northern areas, look, these northern areas is already marked, right? So uh, the purple areas are controlled by the Turkish forces, Turkish army actually, and the area here we have border crossing, Bab el Hava border crossing, and Idlib is also controlled by the Turkish pro-Turkish forces. These areas are also affected from the earthquake, but the situation was already really bad here. We had not enough sources, not enough teams to um, recover our people. Because of this, no aid were sent within couple days, couple first 4, 5, 6 days to these areas. The aid were planning to send by the Saudi Arabia, UAE, and some other Arab countries to through the Damascus, but it's been controlled by the Assad regime. So Assad has control, and he has been fighting with these people for 10 years. He said uh, there are some rumors. I'm not blaming them. Uh, they were they were saying they are preventing humanitarian aid to reach northern cities just because of they are from the opposition. They are from they are against Assad. Because you see the Damascus there, the very south. This was the only functional airport which you can send international humanitarian aid. So how you can send to the northern areas? It's impossible. Also, the Turkey was also badly affected. Unfortunately, this is very very unfortunate situation for the northern Syria. A lot of people are died there as well.
Mhm,
It it was not possible to provide assistance there within short period of time because
mhm,
Turkey was also very badly affected. All of the border cities, look, Gaziantep,
mhm.
2,000 years old castle, city castle has destroyed. You seen the
Yeah, yeah.
wall. Hatay, Gaziantep, Şanlıurfa, even Diyarbakir, all of these border cities had affected from the earthquake. So there was no any chances to send any aid to the Syria at the time. So
Mhm.
unfortunate.
How it will affect the military operation of Turkey in Syria? So we know that Assad so was in news that he bombed some cities on that was struggled due to earthquake, and how this earthquake will affect the military operation of Turkey, because you know a lot of bases and aids and humanitarian aids now is going, as you said, for another Turkish cities. And is it some chances to Assad to start a new invasion, like to come back the territories that was controlled by Turkish army?
No, because Russia is in very big trouble in Ukraine. I don't think that he will get assistance from Russia. It's very unlikely. They
Mhm.
don't. They don't have such power. But from the Turkish perspective, look, the yellow area is controlled by the PKK, YPG.
Mhm.
We have been fighting against PKK for 40 years. So I think if this earthquake was not happened, I think Erdogan was planning to um, take these areas, like at least in between the area in between the purple area and also the border area. So in this case, it's very unlikely because I think they will be focusing on internal matters. They will be focusing on rebuilding these cities. The military situation in Syria is not going to be changed anytime soon, but maybe Assad and Erdogan will start negotiating. You know, because foreign ministers, we know they already met in Syria. Mevlut Çavuşoğlu already met his Syrian counterpart there. This has not happened. This hasn't happened since last 11 years, since the beginning of the war. This is a major development between Syria and Turkey. I don't think any big military escalation will be happening anytime soon in Syria. I think the problems will be solved by negotiations from the groups, by looking at the groups of the Kurdish PKK terrorist group there. It can be maybe militarily, but I'm still not sure. But on the other hand, the opposition group, the purple areas, I think will be democratically solved between Turkey and Syria, not the yellow areas.
Thank you. And the last question about Istanbul. So you know that it was some predictions, and experts said that Istanbul can live such kind of earthquake upcoming years. And what do you think about these predictions? And is it possible to happen? And is it Istanbul city ready for such kind of disaster, natural disaster? Because we know that Istanbul already lived the same earthquake like more years ago.
Yeah. According to our scientists, yes, there is. This is inevitable, according to the scientists, our scientists. If you can open a map, like from the Istanbul map, I can show you the Izmit. The 1999 earthquake had happened in Gölcük, Izmit. It is basically like 100 kilometers south from the east of the Istanbul. But the northern Anatolian fault, like this, actually like this, coming from east to west. So the last earthquake happened 20 to 24 years ago in Izmit. And the previous one is happened 1912 in Çanakkale. So the fault in between Çanakkale and Istanbul hasn't changed since last more than 100 years. That's why they are expecting at least 7.6 magnitude here inside Marmara Sea, inside the Marmara Sea. Unfortunately, still we have a lot of old buildings here. I am also living in Istanbul. A lot of old buildings survived from the previous earthquake. Most probably will be destroyed in the next earthquake. This is the fact.
And enforcement by government in order to control the new buildings also is not good. Yeah, so the permits was given with bribes and corruption, and new construction companies that build new buildings in Istanbul most probably not like not building by standard code of Istanbul. Yeah.
Yes, there are some laws. I think this earthquake will cause a lot of awareness in the public, in the government. The next projects will be built according to latest engineering needs in the field. In Istanbul, yes, this city has been controlled by a pro-Erdogan municipality for almost 20 years. Because of this, we were expecting a lot of things. Like I cannot openly say what has happened here, but uh, major corruption bias things, yes, filed to a lot of people. Yeah.
Okay. So, and I also want to mention, like, as a kind of comment, that I see one video by Vox, most probably, regarding the earthquake and
Whoa.
the how houses, how these buildings made, and it was a point that it was like pancake collapse.
Mm-hmm.
So the buildings was constructed like in the first floor. We have like in Turkey mostly they have like some kind of store, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and with open terrace or something like that, and it's given the bad fundament for the whole building. That's why it can be like a pancake. It's collapsed, and we already saw the video from Şanlıurfa where the
Mm-hmm.
building like crashed,
I'm
not
watching it now. Yeah.
normal, yeah, and it's crashed not like normal building in
Mm-hmm.
Tokyo. It's crashed by kind of first floor was dismissed, and then it was so. And most of the buildings unfortunately in Turkey was made like this, where the first floor mostly using as a store, as a market, as something
Mm-hmm.
like for commercial purposes.
Commercial use. Yes.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
the reason. Mhm.
these are old buildings. The actually, there are some exceptions. Yes, maybe 5 or 3% of the buildings destroyed has built within the last 5 years, but majority of these buildings, like 90% of these buildings, are built at least year after before year 2000. So
Mm,
how you can expect these buildings to stand like this? Because engineering is changed. A lot of earthquakes happened since then. Because 1999 is a revolution, let's say,
mhm,
in terms of house construction,
mhm,
engineering, designing things. So uh, before and after. So if it's built before 1999, yes, you can expect this type of results. But if it is after 1999, there must be something wrong. Actually, after 2007, because 2007 is another revolution. Government took a lot of at the time took a lot of um, uh, laws,
mhm,
introduced a lot of laws in terms of house construction. After 2007, if any building built after 2007 has to be built according to latest needs in engineering in earthquake zones. Yes, these buildings are also destroyed, but very few, less buildings.
mhm.
Uh, that's so rotten, decayed, these buildings, the old ones. So look, I'm watching the Vox video now. Yeah, it's like a pancake, like collapsing. The first floor is collapsing, and it's like accordion, like
Yeah,
going
yeah.
on like this. But this is just unusual. This you cannot call this as a building. Like this is very unusual situation. Decayed,
Mhm. Yeah.
These buildings identical to the 1999 buildings in
Mm,
Istanbul.
mhm,
I think they will also implement same laws to the other parts of the country. This will be an obligation to have um, seismic isolator, you know,
mhm.
uh, absorbing the effect of the earthquake. Uh, Latest engineering needs. This will be another revolution for the Turkey
Yeah.
in terms
Yeah.
of
And I want to mention that it will be a revolution in construction, not only for Turkey, but especially for our Central Asia region as well, because we have a good connections with Turkish building companies, and you know that the members of parliament in Kyrgyzstan and Kazakhstan raise the problem of possible earthquake in Almaty and Bishkek, and the consequences will be maybe uh, like more like bad and worst rather than Turkey. So, and maybe your experience can help our countries and our region to take
Mhm.
it in advance and to take some precautions in the future. So, thank
Yeah.
you for your speech and for your expertise. Yeah, I hope that this video was helpful and useful for everyone. And if you want to mention something, you are welcome.
Okay. Last thing regarding to, I have been living in Bishkek for from 2015 and 18 for 3 years. A lot of buildings, actually 80-90% of buildings are belongs to Soviet era. I don't know how these buildings will stand against an earthquake. I don't know anything about the engineering, but I hope the government will do something to reinforce this. This is of course very costly. I hope this Turkey earthquake will also cause awareness. And also one more thing, I would like to really thank to the Kyrgyz and the Kazakh people sent their tents, bozuz, and to Kahramanmaraş and other cities. These were very needed because in terms of winter conditions. So the tents provided by Turkish government, AFAD, and the other organizations were not um, strongly
Mhm.
strong enough to stand against the winter conditions. But these tents provided by the Kyrgyzstan and Kazakhstan are very useful. I'm really grateful and thank you for this help. I hope everything best for the Kyrgyzstan, the Kazakhstan, for all the people watching this stream right now.
Thank you, Daush. Yeah, and as we already said, we as a Central Asian countries and as a Turkish people, uh, that from one root, we are closer together. We are one from one root, and in this regard, I just want to say and just want to mention that we always help each other. So I wish you like to overcome all these difficulties. Yeah, and after end, we will like look and change and do some reforms in terms of our governance. So thank you
Yes.
very much. Thank you for watching this video. So
Mhm.
subscribe on our channel and share this video with your friends and with your audience. We will continue to raise topics that make a sense for our region, so you can mention the topics and the speakers that you want to see in our channel. Thank you once again, and also once again my condolences to the Turkish people, and I wish no one of us will leave such kind of situation. Good evening.
Thank you. Goodbye.